There's an exercise women can't afford to skip when they're over 60, and that's exactly what I'm sharing with you in this video. Can you sit on the floor, put the soles of your feet together, and get your knees within 6 inches of the ground? If you couldn't get your knees anywhere near the floor, you're not alone. Most women over 60 have significant hip tightness, and for many, those knees are hovering a foot or more above the ground. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't just about being flexible enough to sit cross-legged on the floor. This is about maintaining the mobility that keeps you independent and active. In a few moments, you're going to discover why hip mobility matters more than you ever realized. The exact technique for one stretch that addresses all the major hip muscles simultaneously, plus the major benefits in doing it. And you'll also see how to do it safely with modifications for every flexibility level. But before we get into all of these, drop your name and where you're watching this from in the comments. I'd love to know more about you. Let's start with the 5 major benefits that you'll experience when you practice this stretch consistently. And these aren't just theoretical benefits. These are real, functional improvements that affect your daily life in measurable ways. Benefit number 1, improved hip mobility and walking pattern. When you practice the butterfly stretch daily, you're directly lengthening those hip flexors and adductors that have shortened from years of sitting. As these muscles regain their natural length, something remarkable happens to your walking pattern. Your stride opens up. Instead of taking short, cautious steps, you'll find yourself taking longer, more confident strides. Your feet will clear the ground more easily, which means you're less likely to catch your toes on carpet edges, uneven pavement, or small obstacles. And here's what matters most. When you stumble, your hips will have the range of motion to make that recovery step. This is the real foundation of fall prevention, not balance exercises, but hip mobility that responds when you need it. That improved walking is life-changing, but researchers discovered something even more surprising. Benefit number 2, significant reduction in lower back pain. This is one of the most commonly reported benefits, and it often surprises people because they don't realize their back pain is connected to their hips. When your hip flexors are chronically tight, they pull your pelvis forward into what's called an anterior pelvic tilt. This creates an excessive arch in your lower back, putting constant strain on your lumbar spine. Day after day, year after year, this tension builds. The butterfly stretch releases those tight hip flexors. As they lengthen over time, your pelvis can return to a more neutral position. That excessive arch in your lower back reduces. The chronic tension that's been there for years begins to melt away. Many women report that lower back pain they've lived with for a decade or more begins to diminish within just weeks of daily practice. Pain they thought was permanent actually disappears once they address the root cause in their hips. Back pain relief is incredible, but there's another joint that's been secretly suffering because of tight hips. Benefit number 3, reduced knee pain and compensation. Your knees and hips work together as an integrated system. They're not separate joints operating independently. When your hips are tight and can't move through their full range of motion, your knees have to pick up the slack. They twist in ways they weren't designed for. They absorb forces they shouldn't have to handle. They compensate for the limited hip movement. And over time, this creates wear, tear, and pain in the knee joints themselves. When you restore hip mobility through the butterfly stretch, your knees can return to their natural, healthy movement pattern. The abnormal stress on your knee joints decreases dramatically. Many women discover that knee pain they attributed to arthritis or getting older actually improves significantly when they address hip tightness. The knees weren't the primary problem. The hips were. Knee pain relief matters, but the next benefit is what women say they love most. Benefit number 4, better sleep and reduced morning stiffness. This surprises most people, but it's one of the most life-changing improvements women report. When you practice the butterfly stretch before bed, especially in the reclining position, you're releasing evening tension in your hips and pelvis. Without this release, your hip muscles stay in a shortened position throughout the night. This is why so many women wake up feeling stiff and locked up. But when you stretch before bed, you're giving those muscles permission to release and stay lengthened overnight. Your pelvis maintains better alignment. You're not waking up with that feeling of being frozen in place, needing 15 or 20 minutes of movement before you feel normal again. Women who make this their bedtime routine report falling asleep more easily, sleeping more deeply, and waking up with dramatically less stiffness. Many say the single benefit alone makes daily practice worthwhile. Better sleep is powerful, but there's one more benefit nobody talks about publicly. Benefit number 5, improved pelvic floor function. This doesn't get discussed openly very often, but it matters tremendously for quality of life after 60. Your pelvic floor muscles are deeply connected to your hip muscles, particularly your inner thighs and hip rotators. When your hips are chronically tight, they create constant pulling forces on your pelvic floor. This prevents your pelvic floor from functioning optimally, even if you're doing pelvic floor exercises regularly. Chronic hip tightness can decrease pelvic floor effectiveness, making it harder to engage these muscles properly. This affects bladder control, core stability, and overall pelvic health. The butterfly stretch opens your hips and frees your pelvic floor, allowing it to release tension and function more naturally. Women report improvements in bladder control, reduced urgency, stronger pelvic floor engagement, and better overall core stability. These improvements restore confidence and eliminate anxiety about finding bathrooms when you're out and about. Those are the 5 life-changing benefits waiting for you. But here's the thing. You only get these benefits if you do the stretch correctly. So let me show you the exact technique, step by step, so you can start experiencing these improvements yourself. The butterfly stretch is uniquely effective for women over 60 because it targets all the major hip muscle groups in one position. Your hip flexors, your adductors, your hip rotators, your groin muscles. All of them are engaged and stretched simultaneously. And unlike many hip stretches that require you to fight against your body or hold difficult positions, the butterfly stretch allows gravity to assist you. You're not forcing anything. You're working with your body's natural tendency to release when given time and relaxation. It can be modified for any flexibility level, from complete beginner to advanced. It's safe for your joints because there's no twisting, no compression, no awkward angles, and it can be done on your bed, on the floor, or even seated in a chair if needed. Let me walk you through the proper technique step by step. Step 1. Set up properly. Start by sitting with your spine upright and long. You can sit on the floor, on your bed, or on a firm cushion. Find a comfortable spot where you can stay for several minutes without distraction. Step 2. Position your legs. Bring the soles of your feet together, letting your knees gently fall out to the sides. This creates the butterfly shape that gives the stretch its name. Step 3. Hold your feet. Use your hands to hold your feet or ankles. You can bring your heels closer to your body if that's comfortable, but only as close as feels manageable. There's no prize for getting your heels right up against you if it creates strain. Step 4. Straighten your spine. This is crucial. Sit tall. Imagine a string attached to the crown of your head, pulling you gently upward toward the ceiling. Your spine should be long and upright, not rounded forward. This upright position is what allows the stretch to target your hips effectively. Step 5. Let gravity work. Now simply let your knees relax toward the ground. Don't push them down with your hands. Don't bounce them. Don't use force of any kind. Just let gravity do its work. The weight of your legs is enough. Step 6. Breathe deeply. Take natural deep breaths throughout the stretch. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Your breath is what encourages your muscles to release and lengthen. Holding your breath creates tension, which is the opposite of what you want. Step 7. Hold for 2 to 5 minutes. Stay in this position for at least 2 minutes, working up to 5 minutes as you become more comfortable with the stretch. This might seem like a long time, but muscle release happens gradually. Quick stretches don't create lasting change. Time under gentle tension is what allows your fascia and muscle fibers to actually lengthen. If you feel sharp pain, pinching in your hip joints, or any sensation that doesn't feel like a normal stretch, stop immediately and adjust your position or reduce the intensity. Now, if your knees are nowhere near the floor right now, don't worry. That's exactly why I'm going to give you a 4-level progression system that works for every flexibility level. Your current flexibility is simply your starting point. It's not a judgment of your fitness level or your dedication. It's just information about where your body is right now after the life you've lived. Progress happens with consistent practice over time, not with force or aggressive stretching. And modifications make this stretch accessible for everyone, regardless of current flexibility. The goal isn't to look like a yoga instructor or to impress anyone. The goal is to restore functional hip mobility that makes your daily life easier, safer, and more comfortable. Let me give you a clear, 4-level progression system. Level 1. Elevated butterfly. This level is for women whose knees are 12 inches or more from the floor, or who have any knee discomfort in the basic butterfly position. Start by sitting on 2 or 3 folded blankets or firm pillows. This elevation of your hips reduces the intensity of the stretch significantly, making it much more accessible. Bring your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. Now place yoga blocks, pillows, or folded blankets under each knee for support. Your knees should rest comfortably on these supports without any strain. This setup removes most of the stretch intensity and allows your muscles to relax without fighting against gravity. Hold this position for 2 to 3 minutes daily. Focus on relaxed breathing and simply being in the position. Don't push or force anything. As your flexibility improves over days and weeks, you can gradually reduce the height of the support under your knees. Lower them by an inch every week or 2. Your progress marker. When your knees rest comfortably on minimal support without strain, you're ready for level 2. Level 2. Supported butterfly. This level is for women whose knees are 6 to 12 inches from the floor. Sit on one folded blanket or a thin cushion. Bring your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. Place a thin support, like a folded towel, under your knees if you need it, but the support should be much thinner than in level 1. Maintain that upright spine. Hold this position for 3 minutes daily. Breathe deeply, allowing your knees to gradually lower with each exhale. You can gently press your elbows on your inner thighs for a slight additional stretch, but never bounce or force the movement. Your progress marker. When your knees lower to within 6 inches of the floor comfortably, you're ready for level 3. Level 3. Full butterfly. This level is for women whose knees are within 6 inches of the floor. Sit directly on the floor or on a very minimal cushion. Bring your feet together, pulling your heels as close to your body as is comfortable. Let your knees fall out to the sides with no support underneath them. Maintain a tall, upright spine. Hold this position for 3 to 5 minutes daily. You can add a gentle forward fold if you want, but only by hinging at your hips, not by rounding your spine forward. Focus on relaxation and breathing, not on forcing depth. Once you can hold this position comfortably for 5 minutes with your knees relatively close to the floor, you've achieved excellent functional hip mobility for daily life. Level 4. Advanced variations. These variations are for women who have mastered level 3 and want additional challenge or deeper release. The reclining butterfly is excellent before bed. Lie back while in the butterfly position. You can place supports under your knees if needed. Let your arms rest overhead or out to the sides. Hold this for 5 to 10 minutes for a deep, passive release. Many women fall asleep in this position and report significantly better sleep quality. The wall-assisted butterfly provides a very gentle, gravity-assisted stretch. Lie on your back with your buttocks against a wall. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall toward the floor. Gravity does all the work in this position. Now here are the progression principles that apply to all levels. Add 30 seconds to your hold time each week. Reduce the height of your supports gradually as flexibility improves. Never force or bounce. Flexibility improves slowly, and patience is essential. Consistency matters far more than intensity. 3 minutes every single day is infinitely more effective than 30 minutes once a week. You're reversing decades of tightness. Give your body the time it needs to adapt. You now have a clear progression path from wherever you're starting. But here's what most people don't realize. There are 4 critical mistakes that can actually make your hips tighter or cause injury. Even with perfect instructions, there are ways to undermine your progress or hurt yourself. Let's make sure you avoid these pitfalls. Mistake number 1, rounding your spine. This is the most common error. People slouch forward, rounding their back, trying to get their chest closer to their feet or their knees closer to the floor. Why it's wrong? When you round forward, you're stretching your lower back instead of your hips. You're putting pressure on your lumbar spine and actually reducing the effectiveness of the hip stretch. If you want to fold forward, hinge at your hips while keeping your spine long, not by curling your back. Think chest proud, shoulders back. Mistake number 2, forcing your knees down. The temptation is strong. You want your knees to touch the floor, so you push on them with your hands or press down with your elbows. Why it's dangerous? This can strain the ligaments on the inner side of your knees, It creates tension in your muscles instead of the release you're looking for, and it can cause injury that sets you back weeks. Correct approach. Let gravity do all the work. Use time, not force. Your muscles release through relaxation and consistent practice, not through aggressive pushing. Mistake number 3, holding your breath. When a stretch feels intense, people instinctively hold their breath. This is a natural response to discomfort, but it's counterproductive. Holding your breath creates tension throughout your entire body. It prevents your muscles from releasing. It makes the stretch less effective and less comfortable. Take deep, slow breaths throughout the entire stretch. With each exhale, imagine your muscles softening and releasing just a little bit more. Mistake number 4, inconsistent practice. Stretching once or twice a week won't create lasting change. Your body needs consistent, regular stimulus to adapt and change. Flexibility requires daily practice. 3 minutes every single day is what creates real adaptation. Your body adapts to what you do consistently, not occasionally. Now let's talk about important safety considerations. You should modify or skip this stretch if you have recent hip surgery or injury, acute groin strain, severe knee arthritis, or hip impingement. If you're unsure whether this stretch is appropriate for your specific situation, consult with your healthcare provider. Understand the difference between good stretch sensation and bad pain. A good stretch feels like pulling, tension. A good discomfort around a 4 or 5 out of 10. You can breathe through it comfortably. Bad pain feels sharp, pinching, shooting, or burning. It's a 7 or higher on the pain scale. You cannot breathe comfortably through it. If you feel bad pain, stop immediately. The best time to practice is in the evening before bed, after a warm shower or bath when your muscles are warm and pliable, or after light movement like a short walk. Avoid practicing first thing in the morning when your muscles are cold and stiff. Now you have the complete system. The 5 benefits, the proper technique, the 4-level progression, and the safety guidelines. There's just one final piece to the puzzle: how to make this a daily habit that actually sticks. Because knowing the technique is one thing. Doing it consistently for 30, 60, 90 days? That's what creates the transformation. Here's how to make this stick. Do the butterfly stretch while watching your evening television show, during the last 3 minutes of your show before bed, or during commercial breaks. This makes it automatic, not another task on your to-do list. Just something you do while you're already sitting and relaxing. Or try the reclining butterfly variation in bed before you fall asleep. You can literally stay in this position while drifting off. Track your progress by measuring your knee height weekly. Just a simple measurement from your knee to the floor. Write it down. This gives you objective feedback that you're improving, even when the day-to-day changes feel subtle. Here's the compound effect of small daily practice. 3 minutes daily equals 21 minutes weekly. That's 1,095 minutes per year. Over 18 hours of hip opening per year. That's enough to reverse decades of tightness. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're getting in and out of the car without stiffness. You're walking with a longer, more confident stride. You're climbing stairs without lower back pain. You're sleeping better and waking up without that morning stiffness. That's what 3 minutes a day can give you. Your future self will thank you for starting today. Don't forget to drop your name and where you're watching this from in the comments. I'd love to know more about you. Now go grab a pillow, find a comfortable spot, and give your hips the 3 minutes of attention they've been begging for. Your body will thank you. If you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos on evidence-based strategies for staying strong and mobile after 60.